Perfect. So some of you may have heard me talk about this before, but for those who haven't, this is a research study that we're looking for participants for, and you may experience a phone call from me in the future, so don't be alarmed if you do. My name is Holly. I'm a gynecologist by trade, and why I'm a gynecologist talking at Bariatric Support Group will become apparent in a minute. So we're doing this study called Prominent because we know that people living with obesity have a higher risk of developing certain types of cancers. What we want to find out is, does weight loss from bariatric surgery reduce your risk of getting those certain types of cancer, and how does it do it on a molecular level? So we're asking for people to take part, completely voluntary. It doesn't affect any aspect of your care if you say that it's not for you and you don't want to take part. We are needing people who have a uterus and people who have breast tissue, and that's because we're taking samples from those areas. People need to be over 18, never have had a cancer diagnosis before, and not pregnant or planning pregnancy in the next 12 months. And they need to be having bariatric surgery and have had their 4-in-1 appointment. If you did decide to take part, then we would ask you to do a series of questionnaires, have some blood tests done, swabs, which are of the mouth and the vaginal swab, and then to have some tissue samples taken. And these are a little bit more invasive. They come from the bowel, they come from the lining of the womb, and from the breast. And they would be taken before you went on your liver shrinkage diet and before you had your weight loss surgery, and then they'd be repeated about 9 to 12 months after the surgery. Most of the appointments would take place with me at St Mary's Hospital, and what I specialise in, as I said, gynecology, and that's where the womb sampling comes in. And the breast appointment was with Ensure with a specialist there. Are there any benefits to taking part? Well, in some ways, it's a little bit of screening. We're going to be looking at the samples from the womb and the breast, and we're going to be visualizing the bowel as well, and checking there's no abnormalities in the bits that we're looking at. But also, you have to see the benefit in helping other people. You may have had friends or family affected by cancer, and this may help to find new ways to prevent cancer, which will benefit millions of people in the future. As I said before, if you decided not to take part, it doesn't make any difference to your care. It's completely voluntary. But we realise it's quite a lot for people to do, to travel, to have those samples taken. So we want to offer reimbursement in cash for the time and expenses incurred. It'll be £25 per study visit to a maximum of 4 visits, and £50 for each biopsy to a maximum of 6 biopsies. And then at the 12 months, if we've collected all of those biopsies, it's £100 additional study completion fee. As I said, that's me. I'm a women's health doctor and research fellow at the University of Manchester. I'm the contact point for the study and taking care of you and the samples that you choose to provide. And I hope that if we get to talk in future as you're coming up towards having your surgery, then I'd love to get you to be part of this study, and I take really good care of you. If you have met the team, if you think you're interested in taking part, do feel free to email me. The email address there, prominent@manchester.ac.uk. But equally, you will probably get a phone call from me if your name is coming up on one of the bariatric surgery lists. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and I look forward to hearing the following talks. And I'll hand back over to Stevie. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Holly. Holly's going to leave us now, but we will pop her email address in the chat if anybody's interested, and that's how you can get in contact with her. So in terms of our session today, I would just ask that you, if you have any questions, we've got a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, that you direct all your questions there. And if you use the chat function, which I'm not sure is turned on at the minute, but once we've finished the presentations, I'll turn the chat function on. So it's quite distracting for the people that are presenting to be able to present fluently without kind of distraction and things popping up in front of them. So I think that's everything from me. I will also say, Jodie, there's been a lot of feedback on the feedback form around us not answering questions directly about wait times, and it's just quite difficult for us to give an accurate answer at this session. We're not avoiding it; we just don't have an accurate number to be able to give.
Yeah, so yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations in the NHS, especially for our cohort of patients. So we're really sorry your journey has a lot of ridiculous wait times to it that we wish you didn't have to endure. So just picking up on a few points. So Holly is an amazing doctor with who does amazing research. So if anyone is sat in the audience who fits those criteria, who already met our team, and potentially they've either have a date for surgery or they're waiting for maybe a psychology appointment or a sleep study or anything like that, then those ladies could perhaps take down Holly's email and get in touch. Holly and other researchers do sometimes pop up along your journey, but that, because I just think it's such a worthy cause, a lot of us would really like to help, but actually it does need to be when you're much further along the road and you're waiting for that surgery date, or you've been given that surgery date and you're joining the sessions at the moment because you've just not quite yet had your surgery. So going back to the question around wait times, so from referral to meeting our team, it is still around the 12-month wait. Once you meet our team, there are certain things that may need to be done. So the vast majority of people have a psychology appointment, and that can be a wait time of around 4 to 6 months. And during that time, you will have a sleep study if you need a sleep study. These things get explained to you again when you come to the forum when we do a Q&A, and we can give you more updated information from meeting the team, what wait times look like for those appointments, but that's what it is right at this moment. Once people are ready for surgery, so maybe there's things that the surgeon wants information from a neurologist or a cardiologist who's already also in charge of your care. So once everything is back to the surgeon's secretary and the surgeon with everything done, depending, which you will find out again when you come to meet the surgeon, on whether you meet the criteria for the Oaklands Hospital, which is the private facility across the road where we get to do our surgeries as well, or at Salford Royal, there can be differences in wait times. For the Oaklands team, it's usually around 3 to 6 months, and for the Salford team, it's usually 6 to 12 months. So it is long waiting times, and I often say that if you are sat here right now at the beginning of your journey wondering if bariatric surgery is for you, realistically that pathway from the beginning of meeting your weight management team to having surgery can be up to 3 years. Okay. Right, so this evening we are having some of our patients talk, which is great. It's a really popular session, and it's also really lovely that I have quite a lot of people wanting to talk. So I know we did a session a few months back, but I think it's really important that you hear from people that have had surgery. So we've got two quite different journeys. So we've got somebody who's almost 10 years past their surgery now. Didn't actually have it at Salford. This can happen where services may go like across the north. Again, you may be aware of this. If you have a certain postcode, you might have surgery with us, or you might have surgery somewhere else. So we've got a gentleman as well speaking who's had his surgery much more recently at Salford. So two different, very different parts on the journey, really. So I'll hand over to Abby Brown, if that's okay. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So my name's Abby Brown. As Jodie mentioned, I've had my surgery now. It will be coming up to just over, well, just 9 years at the end of this year. I have gone through an awful lot over the last 9 years, but I needed the surgery originally because my spine was disintegrating. I was on around about 40 painkillers a day. Couldn't walk. I was around about 21 stone, I think it was, at the time. Needed to be wheelchaired through Manchester Airport because I couldn't walk. I was on crutches. So it was something that needed to be done. And I didn't want to go through life and miss my son, because I had a young son at the time. So the consultant at the time mentioned to me about bariatric surgery, and I'd never even considered it at all. So I thought, well, we'll look into it. And I went to my doctors and got put forward for the Tier 4 service. It was based in Wigan. I have been through my surgery, like I say, and it's been what we call an experience. And the presentation that's on here at the minute is something that I've actually done for my work, because we have a diversity and inclusion forum, and I've actually done this presentation to them. So it just mentioned on the first slide, I've worked for a company called Atos. I'm the head of workforce and resource management. I've been there for now actually 17 years. So this slide's a little bit out of date. And I do have 2 dogs still. I've got 2 Shar-Peis. I've got a boy called Rubble, and I've actually got a baby who's 8 months old called Misky. Lexi actually passed away a couple of months ago. So, that I need to really update this. But I have gone through, like I said, massive, massive changes. If you want to move to the next slide, Stevie, if that's okay. Okay, there we go. There's some pictures. Hate the picture, but it's something that I look at constantly, because it reminds me of where I've been and what I've done. I had the Roux-en-Y surgery, and as Jodie mentioned, I actually had my surgery originally in Chester, because that's where the tier service for the Wigan area asked me to go. I could either have gone to Chester, Liverpool, or Salford. I chose Chester at the time, because actually waiting times, the waiting time at Chester was a lot less, so I went there. And as you can see, I was quite big. But since then, I've gone from 21 stone down to about 9.5 now. I've taken up running. I don't take the painkillers anymore. So I've run quite a few things, including 4 Great North half marathons, which I'm extremely proud of that I've done that. We do 10Ks quite often. So I was doing the Wigan 10K on Sunday, just gone. And I've done an awful lot like that over the years. Running is just something that I've fallen into, I would say, but massively enjoyed it. Obesity at the time when I did my surgery was something that, wasn't really talked about. It was, the tiering service, I'd never really heard of it. And it's only over the last probably 10 years or so, it's grown and grown and grown and more out there, and everyone's talking about it. So I like to share my journey with everyone. I like to show exactly what I've done, exactly where I've come from and to. As you can see, like I said, I've had the bypass surgery. So if you have had the surgery or not, this is where they basically, as I call it, I've got 2 stomachs now. I've got a little baby stomach and I've got my big stomach, and my food goes into my little baby one. And it obviously travels through and everything. Stevie, if you want to move on to the next one, I can't remember what the next one is actually. I think it's around about, yeah. I like to discuss about binge eating. My job and what I currently do is quite stressful. In fact, yesterday was a massive, horrible, stressful day. And binge eating and obesity is always something that I've always linked together. That's how I got big in the first place. I got big because you just, you get stressed. I get these hormones, I crave food, and I go for the sweets. I don't know about anyone else, but I go for the sweets. And I literally would eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And to me now, trying to stop myself after that surgery has been the battle. I get the you want it on this shoulder. and then the one on this one that says, no, you can't have it. No, you've got to eat only a little bit. Got to be really, really careful. Otherwise, you know, the tool that you have got is just, you might as well not have had it. And it's a big vicious circle. And 9 years out, I still have this. I still have the you want to eat it on my shoulder all the time. And it's a constant battle. So if you are coming up to surgery, I always say to people, just be mindful of that. Be mindful that the surgery is just the tool. It's not going to solve all the problems at all. It's something that you need to constantly work on, constantly be aware of when you're going into restaurants, when you're going for food and things like that, of going for the right choices. You know, not going for the fried food all the time. Your veg, when you're eating, eat your protein first. The dietitians will talk you all through this, but it's something that's got to be constantly on your mind. And it's constantly on my mind. It's on my son's mind, who's now 14. It's on my new husband's mind as well. He sees it. He sees when he knows that I want something, and he knows when I'm eating a plate of food, he can actually tell when I'm getting full, but when I want to continually carry on eating. And I know I need to stop myself, and I'll look at him and he'll go, no, and he'll actually take the plate away from me. So it's something that affects not just you, but it affects your wider family as well. So if you've got support or anything like that, talk to them about it. Talk to them about when you're about to, the faces that you pull, or the mouth actions and things like that, that are the key telltale signs that you're about to binge eat. Sorry. Obviously, you know, binge eating and then the guilt and depression and everything like that, if you do, is something that we all go through. Stevie, if you want to go on to the last slide, I think it is, isn't it? I talk about, when I've done this talk before, about the tips, you know, to how to manage your stress. Use you know, some strategy boxes that you can, you know, work out where you do stress, what you can do differently. So I sometimes leave my fruit and things like that in the fridge or in the cupboards, so that when I am stressed, if I do go to a cupboard, I'll go for those things first. I plan a lot of my meals, and I plan what we're having based upon my needs, like small plates and things like that. Exercise, like I say, I took up running. I did the couch to 5K. I actually sat here after my surgery. I was watching the Great North in the September, and then I watched the London Marathon in the April, and it was talking about the couch to 5K, and I thought, I wonder if I can do that. And I did. And like I say, now 4 half marathons, constant 10Ks, 5Ks all the time, walking the dogs, you know, things like that. So exercise is a really, really good tip as well, to get those endorphins going, that you know, help you if you are wanting to try and eat, if you are stressed. Plenty of water. Your dietitian will tell you, you know, drink water, drink. I always struggled actually to drink the amount that you were told. I think it was not a litre a day, it was a couple of litres. I always struggled to do that. So I add sugar-free Vimto into mine. I've got a bottle that when I do struggle with my drinking, my bottle flashes at me to tell me to drink, to remind me to drink. You know, food diaries. We all keep food diaries when we're going through the tiering sessions with the dietitians and things like that. And then, you know, get support if you do need any help. There's lots of help out there as well. Couple of other things that I don't think is on my slides, that surgery itself, like I said, is the tool. For me, I had lots of excess skin after my surgery, which I've now had 4 different surgeries to remove. So I've had my arms, as I call them, bingo wings, removed, tummy tuck, and in January of this year, I had my thighs done as well. So there's always something that, you know, you need to think about when you're having the surgeries and things like that, that are discussed, but just be aware of. That's my journey. It's been massive, absolutely massive. I'm still now, like I say, about 9.5 stone, 9 years later, but it's because of work, and it's because I've worked on it constantly. That's me.
Thanks, Abby. That's
No
brilliant.
problem.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, Abby. And it's a really important one, because I always say this surgery is body and mind. Yeah, as the surgical team, we really do address the surgical side of things, and psychology is a really important tool. And we like to encourage everybody in their tier 3. I can see there's a question here. What's the tiers? It's difficult to not talk about tiers, because so many along the way we always have. So if you think of tier 1 as, oh, I'm worried about my weight, I'm going to do a diet. And then tier 2 is where you've taken extra steps. Perhaps you've gone to Slimming World, Weight Watchers, or you're monitoring your weight with something like MyFitnessPal or something like that. Tier 3 is where the GP has been, you've met criteria that allows the GP to refer you to a weight management service that's consultant led, with dietitians and ideally psychologists and a whole team of people to support you with weight loss. And even though we know these services exist, and there's these sort of, hopefully you'll lose maybe 5% weight during that time, it's not really about weight loss. It's about a little bit of everything, lifestyle and so on. But that only a weight management service can refer on for surgical interventions. So that's why we do these sessions from the word go, not to try and sell a surgery, but to make you very aware of what surgery is and what it entails. So that's the tiers. So tier 3 is the weight management service you're in right now. Tier 4 is the weight management, is the surgical bariatric team, where we then look at doing surgeries. And if you have been referred to a tier 4 service, or you've met our team, these sessions are simply here for a way for you to check in, because as I said before, these wait times are terrible. So you have to, so it's kind of your only means of checking in, that you can come to some of these sessions and still feel that, you know, we're still here, we still care, we want to get our work done. But going back to your talk, Abby, in tier 3 weight management services, so in these weight management services, not all of them have always had psychologists. Also, there's a lot of emphasis on the people joining these services, and that can sometimes feel frustrating. You know you've had issues with your weight, you've done lots of things in the past, you don't really feel necessarily that there's anything that anyone's going to really teach you about this. It's a little bit of a frustration for some people that they have this hurdle, as it were, but actually it can be invaluable in lots of ways, especially around psychology. So if you're in a weight management service, do embrace anything they have. I think when you come to meet the team and have a psychological assessment in Salford and you've waited so long, binge eating can be categorized from one end of a scale to another end of a scale. Most people will have encountered some kind of binge eating, but for some people it's a much bigger problem. It's a much harder thing to tackle, and you may need therapy for that. And for other people it may be something, no, I've addressed my binge eating, I'll still stress eat now and then, that's still part of it, or I might have a drink if I'm stressed and that's got empty calories in it, this kind of thing. But it's very different when you feel like you're not in control of it and you're in this terrible cycle. So those binge eating needs therapy, because even with a bariatric surgery, that can be really hard. And I don't know what your experience was 10 years ago, Abby. What support were you given prior to surgery?
Do you know what? Very little, to be honest. I had to join one of the bariatric support groups, which I did do, and you had to attend face-to-face 2 of the groups, and that was it.
Fine. So yeah, and that's not really psychology, that's just kind of this basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I think this is useful because it might give you things, but one thing we've been striving for is that weight management services have psychologists. It's really important. So please use them, because it's really difficult to get any kind of psychological support with the NHS, as many of you will probably know. You go to your GP, they put you into another long wait, and then they're only allowed to offer 6 sessions or 8 sessions, but your therapy might need more, it might even need less, who knows. But it's a really prescribed and sort of sad affair really around psychology. So we are normally quite lucky that we have tier 3 services with psychologists at the ready to support you. So please use that resource in your weight management. There will be questions coming through, Abby. So what I think we'll do is we'll have our next talk, and then the two of you and myself, if there's anything you can't answer, we can pick up on all the questions at the end. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine. One thing I will
Yeah,
say
brilliant.
is body dysmorphia is something that I still struggle with now, massively. So the surgery and the psychology thing of it, as you said, Jodie, everyone please take up any support you get offered, because it can be a massive battle. It can be a small one, it can be a little one, but it can be something that is constant. It's not just, surgery is not just the fix. That's what I've learned. It's not just a fix.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so as I say, we have very different timescales on our surgery. So we're going to speak to Anthony next, who had his surgery, I think maybe 6 months ago. Is that right? So if we'll just let Anthony unmute himself. Brilliant. Brilliant. Hi, thank you so much. So I'll go over, Stevie will get your slides up for you now, and I'll chat to you after. Thank you.
They should be coming up now, Anthony.
Hi, yeah.
You see them now?
Yeah. Hi, all.
Perfect.
My name's Ant. I'm 52. Been struggling with my weight for many years. Since my back condition started, really, in 1999. Because I was quite heavy at the time, but I was fit with it and playing rugby and different things, and I was managing the weight well, carrying the weight well. But then as soon as I started with my back condition, the weight started to creep on. I lost my job, came out of work because of my ill health. That's where it all started. Obviously, my mood went down, started maybe comfort eating. I was inactive because I wasn't working. Then obviously what comes with the weight is other conditions. So not only did I have the trouble with my back, I also started with blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea. I've also started with problems in my knees as well, because of obviously the weight came on, and I've been now struggling with osteoarthritis in both knees, which I've found out I need knee replacements. So that was another incentive to lose the weight, because I wasn't going to get that surgery unless I'd lost it. On the screen is obviously my starting weight, where I was when I initially started with weight management, which the first time I started was in 2010. But then I didn't fully embrace the service at the time. So I didn't lose much weight. And after 2 years, I wasn't put forward for surgery, and I left the service still more or less being the same weight. The second time I joined a few years later, but I was also doing it with Slim World, where I managed to lose 4 or 5 stone, and felt in myself that I didn't need surgery at the time then either, because I was losing the weight fine by myself and attending the Slim World and weight management appointments. So I went to the seminar about the surgery, but didn't actually take it up at the time. I quickly put some of that weight back on and realized that without any help through surgery, that I would literally, my health would continue to deteriorate, and I was worried about the future. I just had a grandson, and I wanted to obviously be around a lot longer than what was prognosis at the time was. You mean all these conditions are going to limit your life, and I wasn't getting about. I was disabled. I was stuck in a chair or walking around on sticks with calipers on my knees to ease the pain on my knees. So I really just thought to myself, I'm going to have to join the service again, give it 100%, which is what I did. I attended all the classes. I went to all the physio, went to all the any psychology I needed, any weigh-ins, any appointments with the dietitians and everything. I took everything on board. I didn't listen to anybody outside. I just did whatever was asked of me, and whatever the advice was, I took it and embraced it. And then after the 2 years of being on the service again, I'd lost a considerable amount of weight. I'd lost over 10%. They said that I was a candidate for surgery. So they had the MDT meeting. I was put forward for surgery, and had to wait, as everybody does, a long time, which was like 64 weeks from being put forward to having me 4-in-1, which, like I said at the time, it seems forever, and it's never going to end, but it is worth the wait, because in the meantime, while waiting, I joined the gym. I joined a swimming class at Ashton, which is like it's an assisted swim class where you don't actually just go to swim. I do exercises in the pool, which obviously takes a lot of weight off my back and my knees and helps that way. When I attended the gym, it was through Steps to Health. I had a trainer called Dan, who was from the weight management service side of things, and he tailored me a routine that would help with all my conditions and wouldn't stress my back or my knees in any way, because it was all supported exercise. Like I said, after being on it for 2 years, I attended the Zoom meetings. I got put forward. Can you do the next slide, please? Right, that on the left is at my heaviest weight, and the one on the right is me just before I go to the gym, at my now weight 15 stone, which when I was the weight on the left, it was like I never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? It was like a dream of ever getting down to that weight, because like I said previously, I could lose with a lot of work around 4 stone, but when you started off at 27 stone, 27 and a half stone, you lose 4 stone. You mean you're not even touching the surface of what you need to get off. So that's why, like I said, there was the motivation, as well as the health benefits, and the fact that I needed operations, and there was no way I was going to get the operations without the weight loss. That's, like I said, how I've gone from the left picture to the right with a lot of work and a lot. Like I said, the surgery is not some miracle cure. I mean, you have to work at it, and it is a long journey, and it is hard work. And like I said, there's a lot of waiting time, but in the meantime, you can help yourself by, like I said, I was watching what I was eating. I lost 5 stone before the surgery in all, through diet and through exercise. Even though I had the conditions, I still went to the gym and had a tailored routine, which wasn't high impact or high weight or anything. It was just light exercise with supported machines. And obviously the pool was a big help, like I said, because of the weight not bearing down on my joints. You show the next slide, please. So yeah, this is what, like I said, what I was talking about. I tried a lot of ideas before, as we all do. Calorie counting, Super Diet, Atkins, Slimming World. Like I said, I've lost weight on them all. I've lost varying amounts of weight, but none have really stuck. And I've always ended up putting weight back on and giving up eventually. And then you're back to where you started, or maybe halfway back to where you started. If I've lost 4 stone, I'd maybe put 2 on and then give up and my weight had plateau. Like I said, my health was deteriorating, as well as the conditions I mentioned. I developed sciatica, which I had an operation on my disc to relieve that. I had left ventricular hypertrophy, which was a worry because it's on my heart. And I had to have an angiogram to check a regular heart rhythm that I had at the time, and it was all worrying. So that was, like I said, extra motivation. Before I'd lost any weight, because I was on disability and I wasn't working, I was literally stuck in the house, looking at 4 walls, wondering where my life was going. I didn't like the way I looked. I couldn't get any confidence to go anywhere or do anything or go to any events or weddings or such, even, you know, family gatherings or anything. I'd always make an excuse to stay away. Like I said, the 2 previous tries were unsuccessful. The third one, obviously, I'm where I'm at now. Just one sec. Oh yeah, when I had the 4-in-1, I was that motivated. I'm assuming the surgery team obviously saw it in me and knew that my head was in the right place. So he told me in the 4-in-1 that there was no need for the psychology, because I was adamant that, I mean, I was 100% doing it, and he could see the effort that I'd put in and the weight I'd lost. And I was attending the gym and pool, like I said, and he said to me, like, I'll put you forward, there's no need for that. And I already had sleep apnea, so I didn't need the sleep study. So that obviously didn't delay me at all. Yeah, I was scheduled for surgery at the beginning of January, which meant I had to do my 2 weeks liver reduction diet from the 23rd of December, which was just before Christmas. So I literally had no Christmas and no New Year of eating any Christmas dinner, having any alcohol of any kind, missed out on all that. Thought that my surgery was going ahead on the 3rd of January. I went for the group and saved blood on the 2nd of January. Everything was fine. They said, I'll see you tomorrow for the surgery. The morning of the surgery comes and I get a phone call saying, unfortunately, we've had to cancel because the anaesthetist ill and we can't get cover. They said normally we can get cover, but for this day we couldn't get it. So I was like mortified. I'd just done my liver reduction diet over Christmas and was wondering, I mean, when I was going to get the surgery, because it was cancelled and they couldn't give me a date. They didn't know when it was going to be. So I just had to wait. But luckily, it was either that day or the day after, I can't remember, that they rung me and said that they're going to open up a date to do the people who've missed on the 3rd of January. They were going to do them on the 6th of Feb, which wasn't a massive amount of time to wait. So then I had to do the liver reduction diet again from the 23rd of January, sorry. to the 6th of Feb. 6th of Feb come, everything went fine. I went to Auckland's because I'd got my BMI down to 45 pre-op, and I knew at the time that people were mentioning if you could get your BMI below 50, that it was a massive plus, and that you would potentially not need the specialist care at Salford, and the wait time was maybe longer at Salford. So that's why it encouraged me more to try and get my BMI down. So yeah, I had the operation at Auckland's, I had the full bypass Roux-en-Y, and stayed in overnight, went home the day after, and everything went great with the operation. Can you do the next slide, please? So yeah, my post-op, directly after the surgery, I had really bad gas pains. I found that putting my arms above my head would ease that, and it did help, because, like I said, the gas pains were crazy. But luckily they only lasted a few days, and I had some liquid paracetamol to help with that, which it did help, and the peppermint water, which is, like I said, that's invaluable at the time, because you're literally just throwing the syringes in, trying to ease the pain. And I also had a headache, which obviously the paracetamol helped as well. But that, like I said, that eased after a few days as well. Regarding post-op, I did exactly what they mentioned. I did. They said you could do 2 or 3 weeks of each of the stages, but I just got it in my head that I would just do the 3 weeks full of each stage. So I did obviously 3 weeks fluid, puree, semi-solid, went on to normal food after that. But there's certain things I still can't tolerate, like beef, rice, and bread. I mean, beef's a big thing because it's so hard, the texture, and it's very difficult to chew. So I feel it, no matter how much I chew it, I feel like I can't chew it enough for it to go down and be comfortable. So I just try and avoid that the best I can, to be honest. I find that chicken is a really softer kind of meat, so I just I have that in a stew, which has been main thing. Regarding the weighing, I only weigh myself once a week. I try and avoid going anywhere near scales apart from once a week, and I only weigh myself on the day of my surgery. So I have my surgery on the Tuesday, and I just get weighed every Tuesday, no matter what happens, no matter whether I want to get on the scales or not. I just leave it till Tuesday. I don't fixate on it until that day, and that's how I cope with it. Otherwise, I would, if I kept getting gains day after day, it would hinder me progress, I think, fixating on it too much. Since surgery, because of the full bypass, I've never felt hungry since, which is obviously a massive help, because you're literally not eating because you're constantly hungry. I literally eat just because, to get the fuel in my body. And I've made a big thing of them saying, have your protein first, have your veg second, and then have carbs if you need them. So I very rarely eat carbs. I'm literally sticking to a lot of meat and veg and fruit, like bananas is a big thing, because it's even though you only have a small amount, it does satisfy you for a long time. Yeah, fluids is a difficult one, because obviously you need to drink a lot of fluid to keep hydrated, but it's not easy when you're first starting out, because you can't eat and drink at the same time, because there's literally not enough room, and you feel rough after. So try and avoid that and separate your eating and drinking post-op, because I did that and it definitely helps. I mean, I can now tolerate both at the same time, but I can't eat like a slightly bigger meal and drink at the same time. So I try and have smaller meals if I want to drink, if you know what I mean. Regarding, saw and felt the difference within a few weeks of the op, to be honest. I'd obviously seen it pre-op because I'd lost the 5 stone, and I'd had to get smaller clothes over that time scale of losing the 5 stone, but it was obviously over a couple of years maybe, where I was going from 6XL clothes to then I'd go down to 4XL, and I think at the time of my surgery I was between 4 and 3. But then post-op, it's like crazy. I was buying 2XL, and then next minute I was too big, I was too small for them, and I'd have to get rid of them clothes, and then I'd have to buy 1XL, and it sounds great at the time, but then it's honestly difficult to. I learned that I could only buy a couple of outfits at the time, because I thought there's no point wasting money on decent clothes or lots of different clothes, because you're gonna like grow out of them very quickly. If you mean obviously when everything works, because the weight loss is crazy when if you stick to it. It's like I said myself, it started coming off big numbers every week, and there was very few weeks where I wouldn't lose, but there was some where my weight would stall and I'd feel negative about it, but then I'd realise how far I'd come, and the fact that I had the surgery and the bigger picture, and think, right, well, I'll just forget that and then crack on with the next week, which is what I did. And then the week after I'd lose some weight. So it does eventually come off, and it, like I said, it's come off very quickly for me, but I'm just putting it down to the fact that I'm also going to the gym and burn a lot of calories off and going swimming and things like that. So the exercise will definitely help if you do that. It also doesn't bother me regarding attending things now, regarding the food situation, because there's always something that you can have. I mean, I've started having starters when I go out for a meal, where it's just a couple of little chicken goujons or something, and people get used to me just having a starter and taking my time over the starter, and they're having full meals. I mean, I've been to McDonald's with people, and I sat there with me a little pot of casserole and a brew, and they've been eating McDonald's, or I've been out for a meal, or I've been to a do where there's been a big buffet, and I've literally got a couple of things and put it on my plate, and I've been sat there with me cordial or fresh orange or something, where I've just not bothered with alcohol, and it doesn't bother me, to be honest. So I've adjusted well from that point of view, where I'm not missing it and I'm not feeling down about it, because I'm feeling like it's a positive, and I don't want to jeopardize what I've been doing by trying to overeat, or trying to eat the wrong thing, or trying to drink the wrong thing. So that's how I've coped with it. I've just got my head around it, and I'm just sticking to it. You know, long term, making it, that's my new normal, and that's what I eat, and that's how I'm doing it. So yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, there's plenty of positives about the surgery. There's obviously the weight loss, which is a big thing. What comes with the weight loss is obviously improved health. I now have no high blood pressure, which is recent. I don't have diabetes, that's in remission. I was also taking water tablets, which I no longer take because I was getting fluid retention in my leg. And I'm still getting it slightly, but it's nowhere near as bad. And I was also getting the peripheral neuropathy in my feet, which I still get a little bit, but it's, like I said, my feet are not burning as much as what they used to. So it's definitely improved my health, and it's only getting better. It also increases your mental outlook. I'm very positive about the future. I'm no longer concerned about, like I said, dying young or not seeing my grandson grow up, or my son's due to get married in a couple of years. I'm now positive about that. I have a lot more confidence, a lot more self-esteem in myself. I look in the mirror and I feel great. Like I said, there is the loose skin, but I feel like I can put up with it, and it's the majority of it's covered when I'm wearing clothes, so it doesn't, it never enters my head to be bothered about it, to be honest. It's just part of what comes with the surgery, to be honest. Obviously my mobility has improved. I'm still got the same conditions. I've still got the back conditions. I'm still waiting for new knees, but I'm now on the list for new knees because obviously the weight is not a concern anymore. So that's a positive. I'm on the list for my knees. I'm just waiting to see the surgeon. I also feel like a regular person, like people are not judging me, because when I used to go out before, I used to get looks at me, and people will be like judging me without even knowing me, looking me up and down, watching me struggle about on my sticks or in a chair or whatever I was doing, and they have the wrong opinion about you because you're this person stuck in a body that you don't want to be in. Like say you are a regular person, but feeling like a regular person only really comes, obviously, how you feel yourself. And I do now, I can walk the street and feel like a normal person. I've had comments of that you'd never guessed that you'd lost that weight. You'd never guessed that you were big initially because of how I look at the moment, which just gives you more confidence when you hear people like that. It's great being able to go into a store and buy normal clothes. I'm now like medium pants and large top, where before I was 6XL tops and 3XL. Like I just wear joggers all the time because them's the only things I could get on. Now I can, like I said, I can wear normal things and tapered jeans and smaller tops and stuff, which, like I said, obviously it's going to give you more confidence. I go out socializing, I go to events, I have days out. Another positive obviously is not feeling hungry at the moment, which I know will subside and I'll start feeling hungry further down the line, but I'm fully ready and I'm capable of controlling that. I know it because of how I've been and what I've put in place for when that happens. I also like a lot of different foods that I know I didn't like before, which is strange because I never thought that I'd be like that because I was always stuck eating the same kind of food, and I'd always shy away from things that I didn't like or didn't like the texture or anything. But now I'll try different things, which is good. Next slide, please. So the negatives, there are obviously negatives, but in my opinion, the positives so much outweigh these negatives that, I mean, like I said, there obviously is going to be things that you're going to worry about and things that are negative, but in my opinion, that you can cope with them. Do you know what I mean? They're not things that you can't get over. Obviously, I can't eat the same amount of food that I once could, but obviously you get used to that. You get used to having a certain amount. You get used to portioning a certain amount out. you get used to the feeling of being full and not being able to eat more than what is in that pot and or what's on your plate, drinking a certain amount at any one time. Like I said, there's loose skin, but like I said, once you get your head around it and the way you feel, the positivity you feel when you're looking in a mirror is far greater, in my opinion, than seeing the loose skin. Because, like I said, the majority of it's covered up with tops of my arms or my stomach or the tops of my thighs. I mean, it's not horrendous, and it is manageable, in my opinion, in my point of view. I'm feeling a lot more cold, which my wife laughs about because she used to be the cold one, and I used to be boiling hot all the time. Obviously, maybe due to my blood pressure and my diabetes and things like that, but I was constantly hot all the time and sweating and would never wear a jacket and things like that. And now I'm feeling the cold a lot more, which it is a small thing, but it is a negative in my point of view. I have to adjust to the social side of things because obviously I'm a lot more sociable, but you get used to being unsociable and hiding yourself away. So doing this right now and going out and speaking to people, even just in a social situation, at a wedding or at a do or something, it is ridiculously hard, especially for me, because I was stuck in the house for such a long time. It is very hard to adjust, but I am trying. Like I said, I'm trying this, which is massive for me. There's obviously the clothes that I mentioned, which the expense is a thing. Obviously, we're not all made of money, so it's like it is difficult trying to get the money together to buy new clothes. But like I said, until I got to this weight, I literally got to the point where I was just like, right, I'll just buy a couple of things and I'll just wear them constantly because my weight's constantly coming down. I'll just wear a couple of outfits and just leave it at that. And when I got to this weight, I thought, right, well, these are the sizes that I'm going to be in now. So I stuck to that and I've started buying more things. Social eating choices and drinking is a thing as well, obviously, because I do have to make those choices. But like I said, I have got my head around it and it is a lot easier for me now. But if you're a big drinker and you obviously, we all like to have food, it is hard to get your head around. But once you, like I said, once you get in that mindset, it will become a lot easier. Certain foods that I once enjoyed is a negative because I no longer like them because a lot of them was made of mince and beef and things which I now can't tolerate. But I have chosen other things. Like I said, the casserole that I make is a big thing. It's in the slow cooker and it's just chicken and veg, and it's like I said, it's my new favorite food. It keeps me going. Yeah, there's the dense foods like the carbs and the meat is a difficult thing because it's very uncomfortable, on stomach. And I don't think I've had the dumping syndrome yet, but I've been close to it. I've been close to throwing up, and I've been close to feeling ropey and getting a bit sweaty and feeling dodgy like. So it is, when you start feeling like that, it is a big motivator not to overeat and not to eat too fast or eat and drink at the same time. It is a reminder. So it did help me. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is me pre-weight. Not obviously full weight on all of them, but this is what I look like and how I was struggling pre-op, pre-me weight loss, because like I said, I've lost 5 stone before the surgery as well. So this was me struggling and finding it very difficult to get about. Once I got on the floor, I'd need help getting up off the floor, which is in the fourth picture. I was playing with my grandson, and literally my wife and my grandson had to help pull me up, or I have to lean on the couch and climb up on the couch to get up, which, like I said, it was a nightmare to try and do. So yeah, this is me at top weight or starting to lose the weight. Next slide, please. So this is around me up. I think I was around 23 stone, I think, something like that, 20, 24. Like I said, I was around 3XL, 4XL tops at the time, and really struggling. The fourth one is where I was in my room waiting for the surgery. Feeling positive about and looking forward to losing the weight. Next slide. This is me 3 months post-op. I'd lost about maybe 3-4 stone since the op at this point. That was June. I think that top, the 2XL on the left, and the pants maybe XL at the time. Feeling a lot, as you can see in my face, I was feeling a lot happier. Next slide. And this is me around about now. First one's social situation, the second one's walking my dog Chewy, who's a little sweetheart. She's 3, but she's literally 1.5 kilos, little chalky. When I was bigger, people used to laugh at me walking her because I was so big and walking this little tiny dog, like struggling around, doing a few steps from, bench to bench in the park. That's literally what I could do. I'd do a couple of benches, then my wife would take her around the park. Where now I can do a lot more. Third one's the gym. The fifth one is when I went to Blackpool supporting my wife on a night run, what she'd done. And the sixth one is this week I did a memory walk. I had to use my hiking sticks, and I had some bandages on my knee for support, but I managed a 2K memory walk in aid of my mum, who's got dementia and Alzheimer's. So I would never have dreamed of being able to do that at one point. But yeah, I managed it with my wife, with my sticks and my knee pads. So yeah, like I said, the change is massive. Like I said, at this point, I'd lost, from my heaviest weight, I'd lost 12.5 stone. So super chuffed. The next slide. I think that's me. There you go. Thank you very much for listening. Appreciate your time. Like I said, I just wanted to share it with you, and I'm just happy where I'm at right now, and glad I could share it with you all.
Anthony, thank you. Thank you so much. It was a really good presentation, both of you, just absolutely brilliant. Abby, do come back on if you as well if you can. So we'll have a look at some Q&A now. So if we go over Stevie, I don't know if you've got any questions for Abby, for Anthony.
I'll have a look now. Joe, do you think it might work a bit better if you ask the questions to the participants, or do you want me to just ask and then between the three of you can answer?
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go on from the questions.
Okay. Right, so bear with me, there are 120 questions. So did you have to lose a certain amount of weight before surgery?
They told me I'd have to lose 5%, ideally. I know the first time I tried, I'd lost nowhere near 5%, and the consultant at the time just said to me, like, look, you're not engaging in the service, and I didn't go to any classes, and I hadn't lost any weight. And he literally told me that they couldn't help, to be honest, because I wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. But yeah, I'd said, like, they said, like 5%'s an ideal amount, but I'd lost, like I said, I lost between 10 and 12 by the time my MDT meeting came up the third time.
Yeah, and I think Anthony, it's real testimony to you, because I think it is hard to lose weight. Obviously, nobody would be sat here if it was easy. And you did lose significant weight in weight management. And then once you met the team and on your waiting to meet the team, you were still kind of doing your best to kind of get that weight off. And I think the reason perhaps you're at a stage, so only sort of 6 months after surgery, or less than that even, around 6 months now, isn't it? Where some people, what you've achieved in this 6 months, your weight will drastically slow down now, because you've achieved perhaps higher average weight loss at this time after surgery, where we might expect to see the weight you've lost sometimes a year or 18 months after surgery. So that rapid weight loss stage for you, I think, has been quite pronounced, mainly because you came into it already on that weight loss journey. Your body was already metabolizing that fat quite well with the efforts you'd made, and then the liver reduction, and then the liver reduction again. And that was a really good point. Cancellations can be really hard, and unfortunately,
yeah, it was difficult, especially with
that
being
does happen
Christmas.
a lot, especially over at Salford. Yeah. Oh yeah, a killer. So yeah, you'll be enjoying your Christmas dinner this year for sure. But yeah, so I think it's just something to bear in mind, because I know everybody's weight loss is individual. And I think sometimes there's a lot more comparison out there now, isn't there, with social media and support groups and so on. Sometimes people can feel disheartened if they've had surgery and they're thinking, well, am I losing it as fast? Have I lost enough? So in our follow-up sessions, we do look at average weight loss percentages, so rather than how many stones people might be losing. So that's just something to bear in mind, because I do think that the two of you are done exceptionally well, and obviously look fantastic. I always think everybody looks great, whether you're big or small. I do think it's very much on you as individuals how wonderful you will look. But obviously you can tell you're very slim. You're both very slim, and that body dysmorphia you mentioned earlier, Abby, it's really true. It's really hard to sort of look in the mirror and think, oh yeah, okay, that's me. And I've been used to always being bigger, so I'm still not quite accepting what I'm seeing back. So I know there's a few questions around that as well. Let's see what else we can find in the questions.
There's a question that says, do either of you still have sleep apnea after surgery?
I didn't have it, so I can't comment on that.
I've not been retested, but I was told to maybe stay on the machine for 12 months after, and then they would retest it. So I have gone some nights without it, but then my wife says that I still do it occasionally, but not as much as I did. And I still snore a lot. So the machine stops me snoring. So she's adamant that I'm never getting rid of the machine, and which is a joke, obviously. But I'm like, if I can get retested, and then they say that my apneas are fine, then like I said, I'll come off the machine, which is great. But I was told to maybe stay on it for 12 months, which that's what I'm doing. I've just stayed on it. I've not contacted the sleep team or anything. I just stayed on the machine, and that's what I've done. So
thank you. So Vicky has asked, can both of you share what you had on your liver reduction diet?
My liver reduction diet, if I remember rightly, was the it wasn't the milk one, it was the other one. It was literally like broths and clear liquids. And I had my liver reduction diet actually the same as Anne just before Christmas. My surgery was the 21st of December. So I had my Christmas dinner before it, the beginning of December, and then literally drinking clear ox soups and clear liquids and it wasn't
Yeah.
nice, but I knew I needed to do it.
That was my saviour, OXO cubes, because it was literally like having I was chicken OXO.
Yeah,
So
chicken
it was like
OXO.
having a chicken cup of soup, basically. So
Yeah.
whenever I felt hungry, I'd just have a chicken OXO. I literally had boxes of the stuff in the house. But yeah, mine was the food side of things, because I thought I need to try and like have whatever food I can while I can, because I know that post-op it's going to be liquid and it's going to be puree. It's going to, I mean, so I tried to have the food as long as I could, but I literally was like weighing out a tiny piece of chicken and a tiny like little sliver of potato, and weighing it out that way, and having whatever veg I could with it. Like I love carrot and turnip mashed, so I'd do that literally every meal. I know it sounds boring, but that's just the way I managed it, because to try and get all the foods in that they recommended on the liver reduction diet and all the liquids in, that's what I was doing. I was having the same thing for the same meals. So for my main meal, my evening meal, I was having like little piece of chicken weighed out. I think it was it 200 grams maybe, and then so many grams of potato, and then I'd have the chicken OXO as a gravy over the top. But it was like having a Sunday dinner basically for every tea, and I loved it because I love a Sunday dinner. But it was just obviously on a tiny little scale. But yeah, them chicken OXOs were the main thing for me. I was literally having them constantly. As soon as I felt hungry, I was like, yeah, put kettle on, have a chicken OXO. That's how I got through it. But yeah, fluids as well, just loads of water and cordials and stuff.
Thank you. I'm just going to respond to quite a few messages. I can see that lots of you are saying my question's not being answered, but we've got 123 questions and I'm doing my best. And so is everybody else in the background. All right, guys, I'm really sorry, but we do try and get through as many questions as we can. I do understand it's quite frustrating. After surgery, can you not have a fizzy drink or alcohol at all?
I don't know.
Oh, so go on. Sorry, Anne. Go on.
So I got told I can't, so I don't. Basically.
Yeah, the official answer is no fizzy drinks lifelong.
I've had a minute sip because my wife enjoys Coke Zero, and I've had a minute sip of that just to see what the effect is, and it's just not nice at all. So it's like
not worth it.
Yeah, you feel ropey after. So I literally I don't bother with alcohol. I'm just saying no to everything alcoholic. I'm saying no to everything fizzy, and I've just been having cordial. I mean, I used to love water, but believe it or not, I mean, my tablets that I'm on give me dry mouth constantly. Dry mouth. It's a side effect of all my tablets. And I used to drink water by the gallon. I used to always have a bottle of water with me, but now I don't like plain water. So I have to have the no added sugar cordials, and I'll literally drink that throughout the day. I do drink tea with a sweetener in and skim milk, but the majority of my fluid is cordial.
Fizzy drinks.
I
don't have. Sorry, I don't have fizzy drinks at all. Like I said, I'm nearly 9 years out. Don't have fizzy drinks at all. I actually carry a metal straw in my bag, in my handbag. I've got metal straws all over the house, in the car, the whole lot. And if someone says, do you want a drink? And they bring me fizzy drink, I will actually sit there and stir it. We got married 4 weeks ago, and behind the bar, I actually told them to open 2 bottles of lemonade and leave them behind the bar overnight to take all the fizziness out. Because I wanted the lemonade, I told them to leave them, and they did. And these bottles of lemonade had bride written across them so that they were flat. On the alcohol point, Jodie, I'm sorry, I am quite far out. So yeah, alcohol, I do partake. I like my gin and lemonade, so I do. That's why I have the straw and I take the fizz out. I will tell you though, if you do have the surgery, alcohol and your stomach, it's because it's like a baby. You're a cheap date. That's all I'll say.
It's your liver. Your liver's processing things a lot quicker. So, and it's a toxin. So your liver can be really overwhelmed. So yeah, you will feel the effects of alcohol and it won't be positive always. So I think sometimes when you have alcohol in moderation after 6 months post surgery, there can be no harm with that. And it can be quite pleasant. And yes, a lot of alcohol's fizzy. So people let it go flat. They put it with loads of ice. They find a way that's pleasurable and enhances their evening, and that's fine. As you know, we're not saying you can't ever, but you wouldn't be drinking something on a daily basis, or fizzy drinks on a daily basis. So of course, a little bit of things you like and treats here and there, they're very defined, they're few and far between. That's always completely fine. Just because I can see a lot of the questions are around, I've had my 4-in-1. I'm wondering about this. I thought I might be going to the Oaklands, or that you're waiting for surgery, waiting to meet the team at Salford. And when you have met the team at Salford, you will be given the contact details of the team, in the sense that you get an education email from a lady called Shirley Colley, who's our care coordinator. Within the body of that information are webinars to watch. It's different to these Zoom sessions. There's a Q&A session very specifically for a small number of people who want to understand the process afterwards, and there is my contact number, and there is the dietitian's contact number. So if you've got anything about surgery or anything about diet, if it's waiting times, like where are things going along, your surgeon secretary manages that, and their email and phone number is the top right hand corner of the surgeon letter from when you met the team. So any issues around that, you should have the secretary's contact numbers. Any concerns from there, you could reach out to Shirley. Failing that meal, Chris, we'll try and point you in the right direction. We'll have a look into things ourselves as well. Okay, so just because I'm finding I'm typing the same thing with quite a few of this, hopefully that's answered quite a few of your questions.
There's lots of people just saying thank you for sharing your stories, and that it's been inspirational. Quite a few people saying that they were really worried about excess skin, but they've said that you've really helped them to feel at ease about that and feel like it's not all that bad. So thank you. So Robin has asked, do any of you have any regrets after having surgery?
Not a single one. Not a single. My surgery, I've also had 4 additional surgeries on top of that because of complications. So it's not been an easy process.
Abby, can I just ask, because I think people will ask, was that at Salford or at Countess of Chester where you had your surgery?
So I had my surgery at Countess of Chester. I've had 2 surgeries at Salford because of complications, and I've also had 2 at Liverpool as well, at Fazackley for the complications. My new intestine decided it likes to go inside out and telescope,
right,
which causes a lot of pain and very, very painful. So they've had to actually stitch it to my stomach to stop it. With everything, with my skin, with everything I've done, I would do it again tomorrow. It's given me, and Antle said, hopefully said the same, it's given me such a new lease of life. It really has, that I understand the complications. I'm an advocate for this. I will tell anyone my story, but I will do it again tomorrow. Definitely.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, honestly, I was obviously had concerns before the surgery. Yeah, like my wife up at night because I was thinking, is it the right thing to do? And it's a big life change, and it's going to be like lifelong. And obviously, there's so many changes, like I said, after. But the positives are crazy. You know what I mean? Like I said, that just sheerly about the health. I mean, I was on a downward spiral. My health was deteriorating, and my prognosis weren't great. And I was thinking, I mean, I didn't have long for this world because the way my life was going. And like I said, socially, and health and everything about it. It's just all positive. And like I said, there are a few negatives, but you get your head around them, and it's the negatives are nothing compared to the way it changes your life. Like I said, I was struggling to get past the 4 stone mark, losing weight, and the surgery has just massively like helped me with that, because I lost the 5 before the surgery, and then I've lost, like I said, another 7.5 since, in 6 months. So it's just been a massive help. And like I said, I've managed to do so many things in the last 6 months that I would never have done if I hadn't had the surgery. I'd still be stuck on the couch, you know what I mean, looking at 4 walls, and my health still being in a terrible state. So my health's on the way up, life's on the way up. So, I mean, like I said, socially, I mean, my wife can't keep up with me now, because I'm like, are we going here? Are we going there? And every time there's an event, I want to go, and somebody's wedding or somebody's due. Like, you mean, like I said, I did that memory walk. I'd never done that in one time a day. I mean, I wouldn't have even been able to get to the start line. So yeah, everything's super positive. I can't really.
Thanks, Anne. We've probably not got much time for many more questions, but I just want to ask this one, because we've got a male and a female here. Have either of you suffered with hair loss?
No.
I do on a daily basis. I mean, you can see my hair is long, it's thick, and it comes out in clumps. It comes out, I brush my hair and it's full constantly. And supplements, botting, the dietitians and everyone will tell you, there's certain things that you can take, but it's constant, unfortunately. Plug hole. Get the stuff to go down your plug hole to kill it. That's all I would say.
That is a shame, Abby, because I know for a lot of our patients, it can be a common theme. Maybe 1 in 10 can experience hair loss. It should settle out. Normally it's the rapid weight loss period, but I have to say us women are quite hormonal, and that can drive a lot of this, especially once we start like getting more like near perimenopause. There's lots of different factors for us ladies as we go along, and obviously men that are thinning, they're just tut and say, oh, mine went when I was 29, stop moaning. But in all honesty, in all seriousness though, it is a big deal. If you go through kind of a rapid weight loss, your body doesn't really understand what's happening, and much like pregnancy sometimes as well, you get this stress response and you lose hair, and then once your rapid weight loss period sort of settles out, and you're getting plenty of protein in your diet, and you obviously get a lot of support and understanding about protein in your diet and how to achieve that, what you'll notice is kind of like little owly tufty bits kind of growing through, and it may never be quite as thick as it was before, but you should get hair regrowth then, so it should settle out, and then you get this kind of hair regrowth through, and it's protein. So if you're taking the NHS guidance, which is from the British Obesity, Metabolic and Surgical Society guidelines, and a lot of the international guidelines, so they're not just plucked out of anywhere. If you follow those guidelines, and we ask your GPs to prescribe you the supplements that you'll need lifelong after surgery, you shouldn't need additional biotin, collagen, all these other things. Forceval is the drug that the multivitamin of choice that we tend to recommend, which has the right levels of zinc and selenium things. So your body will generally, and for most micronutrients, will weed out what you don't need. So the priority should always be weaning onto your diet, getting your protein in over additional tablet taking. So you should get exactly what you need from your Forceval and your protein intake orally. And then, as I say, it's that 2-year journey. You're never really going to know what your excess skin is going to look at. For you, Anthony, around this stage, it's probably the most pronounced it's going to be. As things slow down and things adjust, then at the 2-year mark, you'll know what you're truly left with. So I always say in that 2-year kind of post-op period, you almost have to stick a pin in everything, because you don't truly know how your knees are going to feel, how that back problem's going to be, what the improvements are, until that weight loss completely settles at the 2-year mark. You get an inkling around the 12 months for sure, but yeah, the 2-year mark is kind of where you can go, okay, so this is what I'm left with. Certain foods that I don't tolerate, I'm probably never going to be able to eat bread easily again, or my excess skin, yet this is me now. How do I feel about that? Is there anything I can do about that? And it's important that you attend those annual weight management appointments, because there sometimes can be help around that. Not what we'd like. Again, like most people like Abby may need to take that into their own hands. But where there's excessive aprons and there's plateaued weight loss of the same BMI for around 2 years, then our weight management team can sometimes with certain criteria met refer to a plastic surgeon. So there's different things that are coming into our world that you need to be part of. So those annual reviews after surgery are really important if they then apply to you, or if it's support or other things that we can offer along the way. So that's just something else to be aware of, that annual follow-up's really important.
Thank you, everybody. That was fantastic. I think the response there has been overwhelmingly positive. So thanks a lot, guys. I was going to ask, would you mind if I put your presentations on the closed Facebook group just so people can have a look at them again?
Yeah, no problem at all.
And
do be aware it is a closed Facebook group, and these sessions are also for our group, but I've seen these sessions in the public domain, so just be aware that people do share things. They can end up going further. So just as long as you're happy that even though we'll be putting them into closed groups, it is the social media world and people do tend to copy things over. So just to be aware that can still happen.
I'm quite happy with it. And if anyone wants to contact me, just come through yourselves. I'm quite happy to talk to anyone. I'm open to everything.
If you wanted to join the Facebook group, Abby, you can join that if you want. And that's how people previously have kind of asked questions. So the link's just in the chat. Are you all right for me to post just your presentation in there so people can have a look at it?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. So, guys, I've put the link to the closed Facebook group and the YouTube channel and the survey in the chat. If you don't complete the survey, we don't leave attended, so that's us recording your attendance. Okay. I think that's everything for tonight then. Oh, Jodie, our next session is?
Well, I'm thinking from looking at a lot of the questions, I might do myself with a surgeon, so we can talk about surgeries and some of the questions you've got around that, but then maybe answer some of the more sort of servicey questions with yourself and Keisha, just because I think, like you say, sometimes the questions that are there aren't really appropriate to the session we're doing. But I'm also aware that might be questions you need answering. So if you're in a weight management service and you've got questions, get on to your key worker, they'll be able to answer them. If you've met our team, those contact details, do reach out if you're not sure where you're up to. Perfect. Take care then, everyone. Good night.
Thanks, everybody. And so the next session is November?
Yeah, every other month. So your next one's November now.
Yeah, and then from next year, the sessions will run from February. So every other month from February, just so you know. And I'll put a timetable up on the closed Facebook group so everyone's got access to that.
Oh, thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot, everyone. You were amazing.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.